Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. Thanks for hanging out with me in the fish room. So today we are heading out to Gary's house. Gary has an absolute amazing fish room in his garage. Now Gary lives in a town called Marble Falls. It's about 45 minutes from Austin. His fish room is in his garage and it is spectacular. He has almost every single one of his tanks. He's got, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 tanks, and every single one of his tanks he's got, it's a planted tank. So every one of them is beautifully decorated. Got some awesome looking rocks and quartz and all different types of plants. I mean, it's just a beauty to look at, and it's just a very, very peaceful place. In fact, it's so peaceful that when I went out there with him, I actually stayed the night with him because him and I went out and did a bunch of other cool things together. I actually slept in his fish room. He had a big couch out there. That wasn't where he was gonna put me, but that's where I asked to sleep because there was so much white noise out there, and I just love the sound of white noise. And so I decided to sleep out there, and it was absolutely fantastic. The weather was incredible. Mid-November, and it was like 73 degrees outside, so I just could not have asked for a better setup. So you guys wanna hang on. This is actually gonna be part one of this amazing fish tour. But before we move on to that, don't forget this month, if you join the channel, you're gonna get these two prints. Again, these are some awesome, cool prints from Priscilla. If you want to know more about that, just click on the join button that's up above, that's right beside the subscribe button. There'll be a little short video on there that'll tell you a little bit more how you can get your own prints sent directly out to you. Also, if you end up joining, don't forget to email me your address so that I can mail these out to you. All right, so let's head on out to Gary's house.
This tank right here is a brand new 135 that I actually just got. These are South American cichlids in here. There's a Beja Argentina and some redhead, and I'm not even going to try to say it, but I'll butcher the name if I try to say it. They're just a large Beja family South American cichlids. These fish were given to me, I inherited them, so I'm just trying to do my best to take care of them right now, but they're fun to watch, and I do enjoy watching this tank so far. This tank right here, and if you get closer you can see there are just tons of Corydoras, and you can see one right here in front of my finger, and look closer on the bottom here, there's tons of Corydoras fry in here. As I shine the flashlight here, you'll see them wiggling around. This here tank is an experiment I had where I just let it sit, and actually if you look real closely, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but it has a lot of detritus worms. They're everywhere filling this tank, so a bunch of micro life in here. As an experiment, threw about 100 Corydoras eggs in here. They have all hatched, they're all growing well, and I have yet to feed them a single time. No brine shrimp hatching, nothing. And they are just doing phenomenal. Again, I can shine the light through the debris down here, and you can just see them wiggling around in there all over the place. So this is a great experimental tank, and just a great way of being successful raising fry naturally without having to feed them 3, 4, 5 times a day like you do a lot of fry. Next tank here, this is a Endler line that I have that I'm starting to grow out here. I have a lot of different Guppy and Endler lines that I'm working on, so you'll see a lot of those throughout the fish room. Not a whole lot to see here. It's pretty new on this colony, so there's not a whole lot in here. Let's move to the next one. Let's see if you actually see this. I have my black tiger Dario. There's one of them. I kind of got them. I don't know if you can see him. He's right there behind that leaf. That's the male. I have a pair in here. Actually, both of them are right there, male and female. Had them a year, not been able to get them to breed. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong with these guys, but either way, they're still a fun fish to have. Next up, we have my my more higher grade cherry shrimp, or your really high deep reds. I just fed these guys a little while ago, so you can see quite a few of them all piled up here in the corner. Just a simple, easy tank. The other thing I'll point out is you look at all these tanks are filtered with Matin filters. All of them, everything run on Central Airline. And so yeah, very simple setups here, easy, low maintenance. you know, it makes it real easy to take care of. This next tank has got 2 species in it. It's got some long fin salt and pepper cories, or peppered cories. You can see one on top of the leaf there. Let's see if I can get them in there so you can actually see some of their dorsal fins. But these guys they're really young still, but they have extremely long high fins. So I'm excited to grow these out and get these breeding. I also have a few coolie loaches in here. You can kind of see one right underneath the plant there. I've actually started to learn that I'm liking coolie loaches. They are a very fun species to watch. I'm gonna try to start a breeding project with them probably within the next few months. Next up, these are actually, I got some half black female guppies, and I had a really cool metallic red dragon guppy that I just bred with some half blacks. I've gotten some crazy other pattern colorations out of this group, but overall, some really pretty guppies. I like the metallic sheen that you see in them. You know, I think that really stands out. I do want to work with this line a little bit more, cull some of the ones with the more yellow pattern tails, and just keep the more mosaic dragon coloration. These are not the Dumbo eared, like a lot of people get the mosaic dragon Dumbo. These are just your half blacks, but either way, still a very cool line of guppies. As you can see here too, I have more corkscrew valve than I know what to do with in this tank. I pull it out of here left and right. It grows crazy. Moving down, this is guppy line that I actually just use for different breeding projects. I find these yellow guppies provide a good base gene pool when trying to get different color patterns. I'm going to be very soon doing a project crossbreeding these with blue Moscow guppies and see what type of what kind of green patterns I can get out of the mix there. Other than that, there's just some neo shrimp culls in here. Jason and I were talking a little while ago. We were talking about how when you mix these neos, you can sometimes get some really crazy patterns out of here. Not that they'll breed true, but some of them can really look like some wild, almost tiger-looking shrimp. Let's move over to the next tank here. I've got 3 electric blue Acara. These are still young. I've been looking at getting these fish for quite a while. I was waiting till I got some larger tanks that when they grow out I can have space for them. Now that I have a couple 125s I'm about to set up, that's why I got these guys a couple weeks ago. Not that you would see them maybe, but there are 2 Pandagara in here as well.
They were on the glass the whole time earlier.
I know.
Until we come.
They're camera shy. I bet one's underneath that ledge if I had to guess. But either way, the Pandagara, they're a really cool species. Very active. Truly one of my favorite fish in the fish room just because of how active they are chasing each other. I would love to figure out how to breed those guys, but I can't find any information on the breeding Pandagara. Then as we move to the next tank, this here is actually, I post a lot of pictures of these guys. These are some of my favorite shrimp in the world. I just fed them a little while ago, so you can kind of see a good group of them there. These are your zebra stripe balbalti shrimp, or Cardinia balbalti. So these are kind of a mix between Cardinia shrimp and Neo Cardinia shrimp. They like a half, in between as far as water hardness. They don't like the super soft water that your Cardinia like, but they also don't like the super hard water that Neos like. I mix half RO with half tap water to get the right parameters for these guys, and they're doing very good for me. These are a very rare shrimp. Try as hard as you like, and I promise you probably will not be able to find these at any local stores. Let's see, as we get to the next tank over here, this tank, actually on the back rock, they just went in the plants. If you look in the little plants back there, now they just hid because I've shown. I have a bunch of Corydoras hasbrosus, the pygmy cories in here, as well as some shrimp culls. Let me see if I can kind of stir some of those pygmy cories to come out. Oh, there's one. Yeah, they don't want to come out, but there is actually a group of about 20 of them in here. I'm trying to get them to breed. No luck so far on these guys. I'll keep you updated if that does happen. Next over, these are my blue Moscow guppies. I do need to do a little culling on this line. I don't like the variance of the lighter blues versus the darker blues. I do want to separate those out. But again, I'm going to be doing some breeding projects with these guys and a couple other guppies to see what kind of lines I can get. Nothing else fancy about these tanks. These are just guppy tanks. Next over here, these are my crystal red shrimp. These are all going to be SS grade crystal reds. So these are all very high grade. There's not that many of them. They bred a little bit in here. I do not have the best luck with these shrimp. I'll be honest there. And I don't know how much longer I'll keep these guys, just because I don't really get them to breed as much as I would like to. I do love the way they look, and I may keep trying, but you know, as any good fish breeder goes, you can only try so long, and without any luck you move on to something else. The next tank over here, you're gonna have a couple crystal reds and then some tangerine tigers, trying to get some you know, crossbreed shrimp here. So again, as of yet, no luck on this. I'm gonna do some work on trying to fix some of my water parameters and trying to get a little bit lower. Yeah, because right now these two tanks I'm not having luck with. I do have one Corydoras shrimp tank that you'll see in a second that I am having luck in breeding shrimp in, but these two I am not. This tank here is a bunch of peppered Corys, salt and pepper Corys. It is a mess. I try my best to leave this tank undisturbed. These Corys do breed naturally in here without me having to remove the eggs. As you can see there, there's like a young one. You know, I have big giant rock piles, and the rock piles do allow them to hide their eggs better. No, I don't breed 50 or 100 of them a month, but I get, you know, 2 or 3 babies every month that I see in here. You will see there's some Blue Dream line that actually did eventually over time go into more of a black diamond line, and you get a lot more of the black shrimp in here from the carbon release. But there are so many shrimp, so many Corys in here. Again, this is kind of a wild looking tank, but that's kind of a lot of my tanks I leave like that on purpose. I believe for true breeding, fish do better in a more natural environment that's left untouched. Not only that, but my tanks are not just for breeding. This is my hangout, my get away from the rest of the world room, so I do want my tanks to look very natural and realistic. This tank here is a algae farm, and I also grow angelfish in here, but the biggest thing in this tank here is I've got way too much light and no CO2. I am going to be breaking this tank down in the next week or two and rescaping it using aqua soil and installing CO2 lines. So this tank will have a totally new look to it here soon. But as for right now, this is one of the first tanks I set up in this fish room. So this is actually one of the oldest tanks I've had running in here. Yeah, looking forward to getting a little bit of a change in there. Let's see, as we move forward here, this was my German blue line tank. I've had issues with them. I don't have any German blue lines in here now. I do have my Neo Coals. Again, we talked about getting some of those wild coal colorations. They're towards the front. I don't know if you guys in the video can see that, maybe come from this angle, but there's one shrimp there that has red sides. Yeah. She has like a yellow back or a green back and then red sides. That's one of the craziest pattern Neocardinia shrimp I've ever seen. I did just feed these guys pretty recently, and actually if you see right in the front, there is one in here that's purple. I do have one purple shrimp in here. You know, whether or not that'll ever reproduce, who knows. As we go to the next tank here, this is more of my zebra Balbalti shrimp. There's not as many in here. This is a new colony that I set up about a month or two ago, just as a backup to my other colony. I love my zebra Balbalti shrimp so much. I would be absolutely devastated if I lost a tank full of them, so I wanted to have a backup tank. Next, there's no fish in here. This is actually a tank I'm just now setting up. As you can see the process. I've got my fluval stratum in there. I'm letting my plants float. That's allowing my, my bacteria levels. It's cycling. My tank is cycling right now. So here I do need to get these plants planted. It's just been a busy week, and that tank will then be finished. As we come below here, we have a Japanese blue guppy line, blue Endler guppy line. There's one nice male in here. Oh, there he's in the back. Let me see if I can get him to come up front. Beautiful colorations on him. And I got some good fry in there. We'll see where he comes with. This is also my yellowback shrimp tank. So you will see a lot of my yellowback neocardinia shrimp in here as well. So I know a lot of people say you don't mix shrimp and fish, shrimp and guppies. As you will see as you go through my tank, I have shrimp in all my tanks. I have shrimp in my angelfish tanks. I have shrimp in my guppy tanks. I have shrimp in my cichlid tanks. Yeah, some get eaten, but as you can see, I don't have any issues. Most of my shrimp do just fine living with guppies. Next, this is my only successful Cardinia line shrimp. I have shadow panda shrimp in here, and actually you probably can't tell, there's a tiny baby shrimp in that algae right there. See if I can get on my fingernail. Anyways, there are babies in here. Shadow pandas are something I'm very excited about. I would love to get these lines going because they're just a beautiful Cardinia shrimp. I did feed them. I'm trying to look for more babies. I don't see any right now. But this is one of the only Cardinia line tanks that I have that I've actually got a lot of babies in. Next here, this is a mess tank. This is actually, I have a couple bumblebee gobies, but for the most part, this is actually where I keep my virgin guppy females. So they'll be hiding in the back. But a bunch of female guppies that I grow out that have been grown out since fry and never been around a male. So when I go to a breeding project, I will pull a virgin female from this tank or two to pair up with a male to start a guppy breeding project. Believe it or not, people, this is something I do want to talk about because it took me a year to single out guppies and get them truly to be virgin females that have never been touched by a male. Female guppies can, once pregnated, can stay pregnant for years, for over a year. So this was, while it doesn't look like a lot, what's in this tank is a lot of work and effort. It is going in here every couple of days, and anytime you see a fry show any kind of coloration or signs of a male, picking them out immediately before they have the chance to develop. And so there is a lot of work that goes behind in getting virgin females. So if you're talking to people, guppy breeders, don't discount the hard work they put in to breed those guppies to be true lines. Anybody can just throw all sorts of guppies in a tank and get crazy wild, but these true lines usually do take a lot of work and commitment to develop them. These are one of my Gudiid lines. These are my Xenotaka leonsi. These are beautiful, the orange tail Gudiid. These are live bears from central Mexico. Beautiful, beautiful fish. You see that's a fully developed female. The male went back. You can see these other younger males, but that are developing these orange tails. There's my one, developed male. Beautiful fish, very active. Actually, great algae eaters as well. For those of you that are having hair algae problems.
Have you ever kept them with Corys?
I actually kept these with Pandagara for a long. The Pandagara that was there. These were in a different tank until recently. I'm doing some rearranging in my fish room now, so I broke down the 40-gallon that I had these in with Pandagara and some bristlenose plecos. I bought this pair at an auction a little over a year ago, and it's just now gotten me to the point where I have this many. So I'm just finally to the stage where I'm ready to start selling off a couple of pairs. They'll be young pairs, but that means you'll get more life out of them. But either way, it's taken me a year to get to the point where I even have some enough to. I do plan on I have a lot of Corys that I use, and I do plan on putting these in a more community tank, because again, I like these. Now I have Amica Splendens, another Gutiid in another tank, and you'll see that in a second. The Amica Splendens are too aggressive really to put in any kind of community tank. They are absolute bullies to other fish. These Ximataka are very, very passive.
I heard that this specific species will pick out the eyes of Corys.
Really?
Yeah, this specific species.
Again, I had not kept them with Cory, so I don't know.
That's why I asked, because I don't know if it's true or not. You know, you read something, you have no idea, but it still makes you think, like, maybe I shouldn't put that in with Corys.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, you can have fish that's never had a problem with fish before, and it's still, you know, that individual fish has issues. This is actually probably one of my most popular guppy lines that I get people always wanting to buy. I mean, they're not a rare guppy line. They're just yellow snakeskin fancy guppies. Again, I like to use these as a base in a couple breeding projects because they have a pretty basic pattern and coloration. So when you crossbreed these with other colors, you get a little more predictability out of what the fry are going to look like. I've also got my my Black Rose line in here. I mean, you can see some of them are pretty dark. Again, like I said, I have no issues keeping my shrimp and my fish and guppies together. That's to each their own. This tank here, not a whole lot going on with it. It is just a cherry shrimp tank. I haven't fed this tank, so they're going to be more spread out. Behind this big log is just a pile of lava rock. I do a lot of rock piles in all my shrimp tanks, so most of the shrimp will hide out behind that. This is just kind of a breeding tank. I mean, I don't really do anything with this thing. Truth is, a 125 is going to go on this shelf in the near couple weeks, so actually all of these tanks will be coming down really soon. Let's go up here. So these are my blue-eyed fork-tail rainbows. These are the last three of the adults that I have. These fish are not long-lived fish. They breed very prolifically, but they usually only live, you know, a year or two. So these are my older ones, so these probably won't last too much longer. I do mop breed these, and here in a second you will see a tank where I've got a bunch of fry from these guys. But these are truly one of my favorite of the blue-eyed rainbow fish. Beautiful. The way the males dance and compete for the females, their coloration, I mean, they're a stunning fish to watch. I do truly love these guys, and I can't wait for the next generation. I've got about 30 that are in all juvenile state now, but when those go into a breeding, they're ready to start spawning. I should start getting a lot more of these.
Wait, put your hand back up there. Where you had your hand. Okay, so here is the sign of a true fish keeper. Look at the duckweed.
Yeah, no, I got duckweed everywhere.
I laugh because it's me every day.
So my girlfriend is vegan, and we made a joke one night, and I was like, you know, you can actually eat duckweed. There are cultures that duckweed salads, and she Googled it, and sure enough, duckweed apparently per ounce is one of the most protein-rich plants out there, and somehow I convinced her. She tried to buy it. She took a little bit of a pinch in her fingers and tried it, and she goes, that's actually not too bad. And she goes, if I was starving, I could see myself eating that.
You lived for years out here.
Yeah, no, I could feed an army with the duckweed I have in this fish room.
All right, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed part one of Gary's Fish Room. Absolutely amazing place. Just a place I absolutely did not want to leave. If you guys any questions or comments, be sure and leave them down below. So thanks again, guys, and God bless.